Okay, here we are. This is the hot seat. Welcome to the Inland Empire Informer. Me, Sean Fortine, Daryl Terrell, Pastor Don has joined us this week, and I am your host, Donovan Sadiq, local troublemaker. Going to keep it interesting for you. We got a lot of stuff happening in the Inland Empire as well as Moreno Valley, so a lot of great stuff coming up this year. So be ready. We are going to go back to our video show. And we're going to keep the radio show going on. Our reach is going to just expand because we have a lot of problems in the Inland Empire that we are going to put to the forefront and make sure that, the councils and the representatives and the supervisors do something about it. Because when are they going to start doing something for the residents and the people that are paying the taxes? And it makes Sean so mad that he wants to do open carry in California again, okay? And he's all for that. So that's how bad it's getting.
It has nothing to do with being mad. That's has to do with the crime rate.
The crime rate and everything like that. So, we got a lot of issues. But the one thing that I do know, there is nothing on the city's agenda in solving these problems. And Pastor Don, by the way, Pastor Don, I want to tell you, somebody emailed me. They live all the way in Ventura County, and they heard the show. And they love that verse that you pulled out. I can't remember what verse it was, but it's one of their favorite verses, they had said. And they sent me an email on it. I'll show it to you a little bit later. Awesome. And so if you think that what we are doing is not making a difference, it is making a difference to people who do care, who do want to have the right information and also who need hope. So
oh, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Once again, and that's what we're trying to do. So love me, hate me. It doesn't matter to me because I live in Edgemont. It can't get any worse for me. So that's where it's at. But starting us off, we've got Mr. Daryl Terrell, and I'm going to call Mr. Daryl Terrell Mr. Moreno Valley because this guy is always representing the city well when he goes and speaks at other cities. This guy's dressed up in suits and ties. I mean, this is what a mayor should look like. If you're not, knowing what it is, not some guy that looks like Goofy from the Disneyland collection. So anyway, let's start it off. Sean, make it. What's on your mind today?
I was kind of wishing that.
You can pass it off if you want. So.
I was kind of wishing that Demetra Kay and Taylor was here because she. What I want to talk about is that when I made that post on Facebook, on Facebook on the Hot Seat page about the prison pipeline, I noticed that got a bunch of hits, and I apparently touched a nerve there.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. That you're doing your job. See?
Yeah.
You're getting people thinking. See, sometimes when things are posted, it's not necessarily just to be mean or to be. You know what I mean? It's to start a conversation, and that's the way I take a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah, so Tay recommended I watch this Netflix documentary called 13th, and there were some things that seemed to be glossed over, but basically what they said is similar to what I said, that there's a motive to there's a financial motive to keep the system broken.
Keep it broken, absolutely.
What came to my mind is, well, we're going to have to start locally to make sure that doesn't happen here. They talked a lot about broken families, but a lot of those families were already broken to begin with.
Right.
And that's going to be something that politicians can't necessarily fix by themselves, and that's where people like Pastor Don come in, and you come in,
right.
And Daryl comes in.
Right.
I'm still chewing on it. It's a huge problem. Same with mental health. That's an easy way to stuff marginalized people into the system. I mean, look at the three biggest mental hospitals in the U.S., the L.A. County Jail, Rikers Island in New York, and the Chicago City Jail.
Right. That's very true. Very true. Very sad.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up because it was such a sensitive topic on the hot seat. So yeah, I'm still chewing on that. we need to do something at least on Edgemont side of the scale and
expand out and work it out. And we're going to work on that and continue to keep bringing these issues to the forefront, because I don't care how much Luis Palomares, Mrs. Take Me Home Moses lady, total idiot. And did you guys notice and I'm going to show you how slick she is. She is part of a racist organization. Did you guys notice last week she mentioned Luis Palomares, president of the Mexican Association? She has nothing. They play off of the Mexican American Political Association, MAPA, which is a very prestigious organization. They're calling themselves the Mexican Association, which is basically a cartel type gang. They have no actual real structure, and it's on mvgordy.com if you want to do the paperwork, because MV Gordy had covered this previously. But notice during the elections and stuff, they were all quiet about their members of that. Then she came out after the election talking about, I'm the president of the Mexican Association, a racist organization. You know, it's just one of those things that just, you got to really pay attention to what is going on, because it'll go right past you if you don't see the whole topic. But Daryl,
I try not to take her Palomares too seriously for.
Yes, exactly. Well, the thing is, I got to give it to her, Louise. We love you. We love when you close the show, because whenever I invite somebody to come to City Council for comedy night, I just hope you are there, because without you, it isn't worth inviting anybody. You know what I mean? It's just, she closes the show.
Yeah, I heard that last city council meeting, the bailiff warned her ahead of time to mind her manners.
Right. It's almost like being in a kindergarten class. You got to tell her but of course she doesn't listen to that, because again, if you look at, and I'm not going to go there, but if you go to mvgordy.com and you look at the Palomares' record in the San Bernardino County, you should not be surprised that a lot of the sheriffs know the Palomares and how they get down. Okay, So just look that up, and that's where you can get the information. It's public record. But Mr. Moreno Valley, what's on your mind?
Well, just like you're saying before, I mean, in this day after the election and what we about, like Sean was saying, everything now is going to be dependent on us as a community. We can't no longer depend on the federal government or the state government. It's going to have to be us locally.
You can't even depend on the city council.
Well, that's the whole point, because a lot of the things it's going to have to come from a community coalition of people and organizations, nonprofits, faith-based institutions to tackle these issues, because the city won't tackle these issues. If they did, it'd be more like a PR situation.
Okay, but let me ask you this, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. I pay over $2,000 in property taxes every year, much less taxes when I buy stuff like that. Now you're asking me to, and I don't mind doing it. Like I said, I want to help as much as I can, but I'm being squeezed, commuting to a real job and doing what I have to do. But yet the city's using my tax dollars to promote a WLC that I'm not for. They're not doing stuff for my roads. They're not doing anything over here in the area of Edgemont. But that's where my tax dollars are going for the benefit of somebody else. So how?
Well, like you were saying, I understand your life. Like you were saying, you were telling me your personal story and others in Edgemont. But see, what I'm focusing is the fact that yes, the city should hold up their end of the bargain and take care of paving the streets, making sure that there's infrastructure there.
Library.
Yeah, library. And instead of focusing on the east side, they should be focusing more on this. But the thing is, that's why you have this show, is to bring those issues up and go to the councilman. But the social issues is not going to be dealt by the city council.
True.
Now they have the CBG funding where they could give it out to different organizations, but the meat and potatoes of
Mexican
the infrastructure that you're talking about it's the city's responsibility. Right. And like the library and stuff, I mean, maybe raising taxes, that's not a good thing for me, because the fact is the money got spent over on the east side. And your streets and the infrastructure was pushed onto the east side too. So when I say tackle these kind of issues, the meat and potato issues of social issues has to be done by a coalition. It has to be a partnership. And that's include the city, the county, churches, synagogues, mosques, and other nonprofits. Because that's the only way to do it. These issues like mental health issues, homelessness, it's going to have to, the city is not going to do it. But they have a responsibility of making sure the streets and you're safe at home so you can sleep at night without thinking somebody's going to break in your house.
Well, with the city, though, since we're paying all these taxes and we have residents that have mental health issues like that, why isn't the city using our taxes for the benefit of its residents?
Well, again, it goes to leadership.
Okay.
If you don't have the leadership that think outside beyond, well, we need to get more business so we can have sales tax, blah, blah, blah. But like you're saying, you're paying your taxes, but it takes leadership. It takes a new direction about people.
Okay.
And it's about,
Okay, right there. I'm going to interrupt you, but you're saying it takes leadership and a new direction.
Yeah.
Do we have leadership in our city council right now?
No, to be honest, I don't see it. Because if
we elected the same exact people.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing about it. We've been talking about mental issues, homelessness, and these other type of issues, but if you don't have the mindset of looking in your neighborhood and looking around, like I was up on by the Taco Bell off of Sunnymead Boulevard, and there was a lady with all her belongings there.
Her stuff, yeah.
But see, that's the thing about it. Or the lady again with the hole in the roof. But if you are not aware about your community, if you don't know what's happening in your own backyard, and you only focus on titles and perks and all that, but the real issues is that lady that's out there on the street, got all her belongings, or if you go on the 60 freeway, if you see the embankment, the homeless camp over there, all their belongings, that makes you think, well, have we done wrong? But see, the thing is, you got to have the leadership to look. Take your blinders off.
Well, we don't have the leadership.
Well, there you go.
That's why I'm so adamant about doing it ourselves without them, because all we can really expect is they'll show up, they'll take pictures, they'll take their photo ops, and
wait, LaDonna Jimson is not on the council anymore. So what are you talking about?
Gutierrez.
Okay, Gutierrez. Gotcha. I just wanted to kind of clarify that.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, all of them will do it given the opportunity. But that's the thing is that they'll take their photo ops, and when we get something done, they'll claim it come next election as their own accomplishment. And that's why I'm saying we can't have sitting elected officials involved in this, because they'll do the exact same things that they've always done and leave the exact same problems the way they've always been.
A good example is what you're talking about. Okay, we have a mayor named Gutierrez, and the lady that had a hole in her roof was named Perez. He has not met with me yet. We're in the 5th month of him on camera promising to meet with me to deal with Mrs. Perez's issue, which I resolved it on my own. But this is the kind of people we elect, and that's why people wonder why Moreno Valley is a joke in the Inland Empire.
Well, just like you were saying again, is when somebody like when the cleanups with Pete Roy, then all of a sudden this we're going to do one too.
Yeah, he jumped on it.
Jumped onto it. But see, the thing is, leadership is not about jump me too. It being about leading and have vision. And the thing again, I mentioned again, and I look around my own city, I see homeless people. But the thing is, you have to have that caring heart. It's not all about bringing. That's part of, but the needs in this decade is going to be the human needs.
Right. It's not just about jobs.
Yeah, and the thing is, and you got people that don't have the help for mental health or substance abuse. And all that leads to the homeless issue. And
we have a big homeless issue, which is why I want to turn to Pastor Don. We were talking about that on your show, Pastor Don, about the homeless issue. My question to you on the show was, why aren't the churches coming together? Because you guys are all on the same team. What is your take, and what is your church doing about the homeless issue and the hungry out there right now? I mean, what are you guys doing right now
Well, right now, obviously we're just a church plant, so we're just actually getting started. I agree with Daryl what he said. Unfortunately, one of the things that when we talked about during the election was that people need to the folks that get elected need to know who they work for. They don't work for themselves. It's not about themselves. It's about serving the people. And unfortunately, it's not only a problem in Moreno Valley, though. I mean, it's a Paris problem.
Inland Empire.
It's an Inland Empire problem, because I talked to a lot of people in many cities, and they are all struggling. But the question you have is regards to what the church is doing, and it brings up an interesting point. I think that the churches need to do more. I think one of the things that churches don't do well is that sometimes churches become a little bit too possessive. They don't want to reach out to another church. They're afraid that their members may go somewhere else, or they're afraid that someone may, they see
that
something
pastor's a little bit better.
Exactly. So instead of grouping together churches to solve social issues like Daryl was mentioning and Sean was saying, they don't want to get involved because, they may think, well, gosh, if I get involved with other churches, they may leave and go to that church. And it's kind of defeats the purpose. Again, it goes back to, caring for the people first. See, our church plant, the one, Donovan, you and I, and, a lot of us is trying to work for in Rancho Bulago, our philosophy is different. I'm not interested in taking other people from churches. I want to solve the issues that, Daryl and Sean are talking about. We've got a huge mental health issue problem, homeless problem, family problem, violence, teen violence problem, all these things that I do believe can be fixed. Yeah. But we need to work together, and we don't. Churches don't, because they kind of separate themselves because they think they're competing with each other. And I think that's wrong.
Right. But you guys are all on the same team.
That's the way I always thought. We're all on the same team. We're all serving the same God, and we're all in it for the same reason: love God and love our neighbor as ourselves. But sometimes I think we forget that we need to work together on that. Because
the funny thing is, and I'm not trying to make a disparity, but as a Christian, I look at and I study the other religions, and I notice that Muslims, I don't care what denomination of Muslim, whatever that thing is, there's no denomination of Muslim, they're all Muslims. But you get the Sunni and the whatever, Shiri. But outside of that, they come together and they're on one accord when it comes to doing for the, for their people or, doing what they're doing. And I'm thinking, well, why can't we do that? And it's just a sad thing.
Well, that's the same thing about government. When we look at government is not compassionate. If you look, during before the Depression, there was a lot more the nonprofit, the social service organizations that have more compassion than the government. And I can see if you don't have compassionate people, that's the thing about government could be compassionate. It's going to be the social services. Because as they say, most people, you deal with government, you ask them to do certain things like we talk mental health and all that. It takes a tragedy before something ever happens.
It's done.
Right. But it's because they're not compassionate. Government in general is not compassionate. It's the people like the faith-based. It's about the nonprofits out there that have more compassion, the Salvation Armies and the Lutheran services that's out there that goes out and try to help people. But when government gets in the way, then sometimes it defeats the person, or they take credit for that problem and say we solved it. But no, they're not meant to be compassionate. It's the social, but they could be a catalyst in bringing people together and fight an issue. But they cannot be the one to deliver. It has to be. They could be fostering or connections to tackle these issues.
Right. Now, we talk about nonprofit, and I'm just making an observation because I don't know anything. Like I said, I spent my whole career in the military. I'm new to the civilian thing, but I'm getting it. I've been doing this for 4 years now, so I'm trying to get the I don't care attitude. I'm getting there. But nonprofits, a lot of, I've met a lot of people that have nonprofits, and I'm not like downing it and stuff like that, but I noticed that a lot of people that have nonprofits, in my opinion, they're not doing it to help people. They're living off the nonprofit. They're giving themselves a salary.
Yeah, I would agree that there's some out there, but
I'm not saying all, but the people that I've run across that say, I have a nonprofit. And I'm thinking, okay, well, they might have all these donations, $15,000 in donations, but I think at least 40% of that goes to their salary.
Well, that's one of the things that, the Clinton Foundation that they talked about, for every dollar that was given to the Clinton Foundation, I think they were saying like 45 cents actually goes to the
Clintons.
No, it goes 55 cents goes to the Clintons,
and
wow. 45 cents actually goes to the groups that they're trying to support, and
that's a lot higher numbers than I've heard.
Something like that.
Because I know in Haiti they are just hated in Haiti.
Yeah.
So
so that kind of goes back to your point. why is it like that?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't every dollar 99% go to exactly the cause of what you're trying to support versus
the administration of it or the admin and things of that nature. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying, what are we teaching in these business schools where greed is good? I know Gordon Gekko is was a great movie and everything like that, but to me, it summarizes up exactly what we're experiencing in Moreno Valley, the Inland Empire.
Well, also, we've had a history of politically connected people using their nonprofits to they're trying to get city funds for their nonprofits, but most of that money in their nonprofit goes straight to them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and yet, okay, so you got $10,000 and only $10,000 and only $1,000 goes to the homeless issue or the people in the needy. Now my question is the holidays, and this is the second year in a row that Edo has not given out free turkeys. He was doing that previously, and I'm thinking,
well, he doesn't need those people to push whatever he wants right now.
Well, what happened to the Saturday tri-tip? What happened to that? Anybody know?
Nope.
No. Well, here's the funny thing. I was at Lowe's, and I had seen Daryl earlier, and I'm walking out of Lowe's today, and guess who I ran into?
Who?
Somebody I'd never met, but I've seen him like that. Raymond Sawyer.
Oh,
Raymond Sawyer. So he calls me, and I didn't know, I've never met him formally. And he calls me, and I say, hey, and I recognize him, but I was like, okay, am I going to get beat up here? Because this guy's a big dude. Yeah. And, nice looking guy too. Don't get me wrong. He's a very nice guy. I got a lot of African friends and things like that. Cause it's, that accent really gets me. And he's like, hey, da, 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 da. So I say, hey, you going to come on the show, whatever it is? He says, yeah, let me get your card, and I'll friend you later on and stuff like that. And I believe he's a man of his word. And invited him on the show. So he's going to come on. I said, well, what do you think about that appointment thing? I said, do you think that's going to go your way? He goes, well, I'll submit my, paperwork and do everything. But, if it happens, it happens. But, he goes, I would prefer, this is his words. He said he would prefer the people decide, and it goes to an election. See, so for me, when people ask me, how do I feel about that? I'm in District 1. I can care less what's going on in District 4 because they have to decide that over in District 4. So, there you go again. Raymond Sawyer reached out and said, hey, I'm willing to come on the show and, tell you how what's really going on. And I'm not saying it would be a bad thing. From what I know of him, I'm not saying it would be a bad thing. Is he tainted or whatever? I don't know. I mean, I don't know the real facts of that, but I know that he did somebody tried to smear him, Gwendolyn Cross, and it backfired. And that wasn't a good thing. So, but yeah, it was great meeting him. So I got him on the show, and, if they appoint him, okay, great. But if he did get appointed, would you have a problem with that, Sean?
I don't know enough about him, but I do think that the appointment would look rather bad.
Bad, yeah.
I think that would make him look, even if he's not on Highland Fairview's payroll, that would certainly make him look like he was. Right.
Yeah. It would put you in a bad thing. What do you think, Carol?
Well, I like him. I like Raymond. He's a good guy, but the whole thing again is letting the people decide because they've been denied this
for 3 years now.
Yeah,
third year.
So let the people decide because every time they talk about this, it's money. Always about money, but we have enough money to give to the east side.
Right. Well, or they talk about money, but they don't talk about it. It cost over $100,000 in litigation that Gutierrez cost us. But yet we have no money to do a special election?
Who was saying that there's $4 million in the city's legal fund?
So that gives him right to just go ahead and use it?
No, I'm saying that somebody's not paying their bills.
Oh, yeah. I know where you're going with that. So we're going to get to that a little bit later. But Pastor Don, what do you think about...
I know Raymond. I've been to his establishment, his business, and I've met with him at the homeowners association. Mm-hmm. Raymond's a good guy, but I'm with these other guys. I think the people need to make that decision, and not no matter what, it's going to be tainted because people's going to look at it and say, "Well, how did he get appointed?" I think the people must vote.
Right.
I'm firm on that.
I mean, when you have a council right now that has 4 people and 3 of them receive money from Highland Fairview, and then they approve who they want, it would look suspicious. And
right now, Highland Fairview is my biggest concern when providing mental health services, because in the past they have promoted that Aquabella Wellness Center, and they tried to scuttle the JPA to get it.
Right.
Well, the JPA is actively working on, and they're eventually going to break ground on their hospital, and they're going to have huge amount of psychiatric services there. And where Ido Benzivi has this plan for like this holistic thing that even most private insurances aren't going to pay for most of the stuff he wants to do, much less Medi-Cal, Medicare, indigent care. So if the city council actually helped Ido out with building this wellness center thing he wants to do, that would be scuttling a lot of people's efforts to solve substance abuse and mental health and homeless issues in the city by destroying opportunity for a facility that would actually
do something,
be built and actually have beds available and provide space for groups to provide meetings and support groups. And so right now, even more than dumping money into the east side, my biggest concern right now is that the city council will scuttle the Joint Powers Hospital and the Joint Powers altogether.
Well, I like I said, I don't think it's a mistake or a coincidence that they're talking about dismantling the JPA, because, again, if people remember, the judge, when the city tried to sue Victoria Baca, whoever was on that, I know Victoria Baca was on the council at the time, and so on and so forth. When the city tried to sue the JPA, the judge came back and said, you can't sue yourself because you're a part of that. Now, all of a sudden, they don't want, we're going to try to scuttle the JPA. And when they scuttle the JPA, you're no longer a part of that situation. So it puts what you're talking about in jeopardy, and that the wellness center and things like that in jeopardy.
No, it puts the wellness center in position to possibly be built if anyone actually wants to finance Ido's project, right. Or maybe he'll try and get city funds for it, like the warehouse thing. But still, right. He'd be scuttling a practical project for his pie in the sky holistic treatment thing that wouldn't actually help the vast majority of people that are in most desperate need of it. Right,
and what I don't understand mostly is the fact that here is a person who is not even a resident of Moreno Valley, and he's calling all the shots here. And why don't people see? I mean, most normal people, we're in Moreno Valley. Most normal people would be offended that somebody who's not even a resident has so much influence.
Well, isn't he not even a citizen?
I'm not sure about all that, but I know he's not a resident. That's one thing I do know. He's not a resident. And, most people would be offended and be like, hey, you get the hell out of here. This is like a fight within a family. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but only in Moreno Valley do we just let anybody come into the city and just, tell us what we got to do. So, but Daryl, have you heard anything on the school board? What's your thing on the school board? You got your ear to the ground? What's going on?
Oh, I haven't. They just got sworn in, so I didn't attend the meeting. So
did Evan Moron come in his ape suit or whatever the deal is?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it? Yeah. I haven't been watching a lot of stuff because it's really painful to see people who are really going to hurt what has already been established. I mean, here's a guy that, like I said, I don't even understand. It just doesn't make sense. So,
well, like I said, the things like we've been talking about. I mean, we've been talking about all this is together. School issues, city, homelessness, mental. Because a lot of the kids we forget some of them anyway are homeless.
Right.
And that's why it's so important that we have to put out all our efforts and focus on the homelessness issues, because a lot of the kids that attend these schools are homeless. Some of them, anyway. Not, I don't know what the percentage of it is,
right.
But we need those services to help these kids and get them into the schools, so these kids will know that the parents will know that they have services available for them, so they can get the help they need if they're having a substance abuse or they need to talk to someone for mental health issues and things. Because if we don't, these are the same kids who's going to fall. Hopefully they don't fall by the wayside and really be in dire straits. when it's too late.
Right.
So, I mean, if we could do anything with that same compassion for social services, is to get into the schools and make sure that we have a full-fledged school. Not only you teaching and everything else, but you tackle these issues of mental health and substance abuse, because with this marijuana thing coming past, so that's going to bring up a whole nother a lot of issues.
A rumor on the street is the parents are really waiting to ambush Mr. Moron and show his incompetence as he sits on that board. I mean, that's the rumor. I don't know if that's true or not. But
I've heard that too. I think the special needs parents, especially, are going to have to.
We're offended by a lot of stuff that he said.
They're going to have to band together and make sure that their concerns are heard and addressed, even if Evan Morgan doesn't want to.
Right. Has anybody heard of the past candidates? Like I said, it's funny how when an election comes, they disappear. Well, I'll be around. I'll do. They make these promises.
Well, I know Pat Kelleher did a great job, but he's getting up there in years. So I'm not really surprised that he's
retired and moved on. But I'm talking about people like LaDonna Jimson, Denise Fleming.
But still, it's still amazing that you go from Pat Kelleher to Evan Moran.
Evan Moran, yeah, it's just amazing. It's amazing, but I'm kind of sad because now I can't do my Denise Fleming impersonation. But supposedly, in the regards of LaDonna Jimson, a lot of people that she's blaming for losing the election, kind of like Hillary Clinton. She's telling people, "Oh, you didn't get out there enough for me." Whatever the deal is, it's not. You're the candidate. So it's your job to convince the people to vote for you, not for the people to do your job. So quit with the excuses, Ms. Jimson. The fact of the matter is you are a bank robber, or you were a bank robber. And as such, you made it easier for Victoria Baca to come back as a victim. I mean, no matter how you look at it, I wasn't the issue. I got my numbers were okay and better than they were last time. But the fact of the matter is you lost that election because your supporters would not support a bank robber. I mean, that's the bottom line, because you won 70% last time. So let's deal with that. And Denise Fleming, totally a ghost. We don't know what happened to Denise Fleming. She just disappeared. So hopefully we won't hear from her anytime soon, unless, Daryl, you know something.
Well, no, I was just sitting there thinking about what you were just saying about, and I had to say something that Evan Morgan was saying.
Moron.
Well,
same difference.
Same difference.
But what he was saying at the swearing in about runoff elections.
Yeah.
Now I agree with that, because
top
the fact that if you had the top two, I think we probably had a different outcome.
Yes, absolutely.
And because I was remembering what you were saying about 30%. And you had so many candidates, but if you had a runoff, I think
it wouldn't have mattered at that point. It would have been a clear-cut choice.
And I agree, and that's what we were talking about earlier about charter. I think we need one.
We need one, yeah, and we need a full-time mayor, not a elected mayor and a city manager. We need a full-time mayor. That's their job. That's what they're going to do. And if you don't want to do the job, don't run. Period. Have some experience in it. But Pastor Don, you've been doing a lot of work with your church plant. The show's been going great. I know you got a lot of stuff on your plate. We got together on, if you guys missed it, we had a nice trivia Monday night during the church plant meeting and stuff like that. Could you kind of just fill us in on how that went? I think I got 5 out of 12.
Yeah, you actually did better than I thought. I got everybody nervous. I gave them a Christmas quiz, and everybody gets nervous when they take a test, but everybody did very, very well, and you were in the finals.
Yeah,
and lost at the end.
I lost at the end. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I am going to have to leave, but I do want to say one thing about, kind of summarize it from the church point of view of these ideas of social issues and stuff. First of all, I just want to tell you how excited I am about this Inland Empire Informer. I think that taking this show and widening it to the Inland Empire is needed so much, because so many other cities are struggling just like Moreno Valley. I also want to just put like a little bit of a plug. We talked a lot about social issues, talked about mental health and homeless. And our church plant, that's exactly what we want to do in regards to. We've got plans to help the homeless. We really do. We have plans to get people off the street if they want to. We're working with different large organizations like World Impact, World Vision to get funding so we can help the homeless and mental health in individuals. We're working with the schools to try to get Bible clubs in the schools over at the Rancho Belago area. We're working in starting a mentoring program with counselors and teachers in the middle school and high school. I'm praying that I can get together with Boys and Girls Club to get a Boys and Girls Club out in Moreno Valley, not have to worry about spending $9 million in order to do that. So yes, we do need social groups and churches and all that to work together. But Reflections Moreno Valley is going to take the lead on this. Awesome. And I know that we have a plan, and God opens every door. And we're excited because I know we trust the Lord that He's going to open these doors. So again, if you want to be part of that dream of what everything that Daryl and Sean and Donovan is talking about, we're going to be doing that because I think it's so important. We all four of us love Moreno Valley. We love this city, and that's why we're so passionate about it. But allowing this church to take the lead and praying that other churches join in, I think that we can make a difference for Moreno Valley. So thanks so much, Donovan, for allowing me to be on your show.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
I know you got to run real quick. Your page plug.
Our Facebook page is Reflections Moreno Valley Church Plant. Please, all our daily devotionals are there. My weekly podcasts are there. Everything is on there. So please like it, share it, and I hope it's blessing you. And then, of course, I've got my YouTube channel, Pastor Don Devotionals, Reflections Moreno Valley. That all my archive devotionals are on there. I hope that those things are a blessing to you as well. And and thank you, all of you that are listening and enjoying those shows.
Absolutely. And we got a lot of stuff going in January coming up. Again, we are going to be, if you want to be a part and help Pastor Don do what he needs to do, there's a GoFundMe account if you want to contribute. And like I said, if it's $5, $1, whatever you can do, because like I said, there was a lady in Ventura. She loves what you're doing and loves the thing, and for you to continue to do that, you've got to sow seed. And we're not asking you to take away from your home church, whatever you're going to do, but think of that espresso that you're getting at Starbucks. $5. I mean, some people are spending at least $15 a day on coffee. So to do a church plant, it costs money and there's fees and there's all kinds of stuff. And Pastor Don's got a lot of stuff in the works, and being a good shepherd, he's not really becoming onto the sheep to make this church form, because it really falls on him. But at the same time, we're in modern times, and if you can give whatever you can. And it's the same thing with this show. We're going to be expanding, got a lot of stuff going, and so the GoFundMe accounts, whatever you guys can do to contribute. If you want to contribute to a church from the ground up, we would really appreciate it. And we're going to keep plugging that for you, Pastor Don, and keep us informed with that, okay?
Thanks so much, Don. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll see you next week. And keep it up. So, I'll be back. Real quick, Daryl, as we continue to do our thing, Camille.
Yes.
Very, very involved young lady. Now, I don't want to put her on the spot, but I'm going to have to put her on the spot because I need that woman to come on this show because she knows a lot of stuff that she's talking about. Oh, yeah. So what is your take on Miss Camille? Would she be she has daughters, so she's a parent, mm-hmm. and you've worked with her for a long time.
Yes.
I think she has a lot of great insight.
Yeah, she does. Very knowledgeable, very wise individual. Mm-hmm. I love her to death because she's an awesome person, but also have a lot of knowledge. Right. Things I hadn't even thought about, but it make you start thinking about things. Mm-hmm. And that you need that kind of another point of view to come on too, because that's what people want to hear. They want a different point of views. Right. Whether Absolutely. You like it, you disagree with them, or you agree with them, but she's very knowledgeable and very, very wise.
Yeah, and I kind of like her personality because she comes to work in a dress. So sometimes, which was kind of an oxymoron, I was like, wow, she kind of thinks outside of the box. So I kind of like that.
I like that.
But let me ask you this, and you've been in the city for a long time. Where are we headed? Where are we headed as a city?
Well, if we again, it has to be the leadership. Again, where we're headed, it seems like we're not heading to the frontier that I talk about a lot, because the new frontier that I've been talking about is where people have a chance of living their American dream in this city, and building it from the school level, from the college level to our city. It seems like as much as we putting out on the kind of things, the jobs, all this stuff. But again, if we don't, it doesn't do us any good to bring jobs that people are not trained for. So I see our city, and the poverty will continue to rise. I don't care how many jobs you bring in this community. If people don't have the skills or the education, they're going to miss the boat. And the poverty we haven't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, too, when we look at, again, mental health issues, and if we're not tackling the social issues, we're not a complete city. It's not enough to have jobs if your people need help. When I mean help, again, mental health or substance abuse or other financial literacy. Because if you look in our neighborhood, you know how the old saying goes, there's a liquor store in every corner?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. If you look in our community, you'll see not only that, but what else you see? Payday loans, prostitution. And you see pawn shops everywhere.
Yeah, pawn shops,
so
99-cent stores.
Yeah, so the thing is, it's telling, that right there is a sign that's telling you that this community, if we don't change our act, it's going to even get worse, because they come in here because the demographics fits it.
Right.
Why we have all these 99-cent stores? Nothing wrong with it, but you got too many liquor stores.
Well, I'll tell you what. When you have a lot of 99-cent stores and liquor stores, that tells you right there the diversification of your population, poor population.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it says.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you first came in, you didn't see the many.
There wasn't.
Yeah,
there wasn't a lot of liquor stores here. It was very rural out here.
There was no 99-cent stores. There were a couple of convenience stores, but they didn't specialize in liquor.
Right.
There were no smoke shops.
Right.
There were
no payday loans.
Nope. When I came out here, there were things like, I was really little, so there was a big Toys R Us on Day Street that was actually inside the Moreno Valley city limits.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
My parents used to like to go to Checkers frozen yogurt that was by the Vons that's now closed and replaced by the Cardenas or whatever that is. That's now a smoke shop.
Kmart. That's in
Kmart. That Kmart was great.
Yeah, it was until they closed that down. So.
And the movie theater.
Movie theater over there.
Yeah, there was a couple hardware stores.
Yeah, remember Builders Emporium?
Yeah, there was a Builders Emporium. That we had
Home Base.
Now that there was a theater there too, and that place is a ghost town. I don't even know why they try and keep any of that open.
Yeah,
but yeah, basically, there used to be things that were worth coming down to the Edgemont area from the District 2 area, but all that's gone now.
Yeah, and you see an explosion of a lot of. If you've been on Alexandra Boulevard, where we were talking about the Kmart, it's getting depressed. Then you was asking what direction we're going. We heading in a bad direction.
Speaking of Alexandra Boulevard, there used to be White's Bikes, fairly high end bike shop.
Yeah, still there.
Yeah, well, it was over in the. Over
where the movie theater.
We moved it, yeah.
It used to be over a little bit farther east.
Yeah, east, yeah.
There was a sports memorabilia shop. There was a flower shop there.
Yeah.
There were things that were actually there for people that actually had money.
Right. But guess what? Over time, you've got the people who come from East LA, Compton, Carson, things like that. People that didn't have any money that have come over here. Now, if you don't have any money when you left and you can get to a new place and you don't have any money, you turn that area into the exact same place you left.
Yeah, and here's something else. You hear more helicopters than you hear birds in the morning.
Oh, wow. That's
police helicopters.
That's very deep. So
But luckily, the thing about the Edgemont area is that a lot of those shopping centers are still there. You may need paint and repavement of the parking lots,
and
but
bringing in businesses.
A lot of that infrastructure is still there. We just need to bring those businesses back that actually pay more wages and will bring in more affluent people to go shopping there.
Right on. Look, we're going to continue this conversation in the next 45 minutes. We're going to go ahead and take a break. This has been the Hot Seat Radio Show. Sean 14, Daryl Terrell, Troublemaker Donovan Sadiq. We're going to be right back after these messages.